What in the world is happening with King County real estate? Let's check it out. Super exciting. Things are moving. This is different. Changes in the air. The market is shifting. Okay, what does that mean? Well, is the bubble collapsing? No, the bubble's not. There's no bubble. There's no bubble. Everything here is completely explainable, but it is definitely shifting. Let's look. Supply and demand. Green is the supply, blue is the demand. Couple interesting things about this. You can see that the supply in April exceeded March. Yep. But look, the buyers were down too. So interesting little phenomena. This delta, this gap here between sellers and buyers, 28% more listings than when they're under contract. That's the highest delta in April in the last 5 years. In other words, there's more available inventory for every buyer than there has been any time in the last 5 years. And that's consistent with what we expected from last month. You can see this is becoming more of a normal seasonal phenomena. What do I mean? Well, look at the last 5 years to get a sense of what normal and abnormal looks like. So normal is the summer has these peaks in June and July where there's significantly more inventory than buyers. The pandemic changed all that. This year looks more like these years, 2017, 18, and 19. It's definitely shaping up that way. When you look at the delta between buyers and sellers for April, you can see that we really are pretty much on track. It was 28% more listings than sellers this year, 24%, 27%, right, in previous years. So there you go. And more than that, it's a 10% jump. The delta, the change, the difference between listings and buyers is 10% higher in April, meaning it is easier to buy than it has been any time in the last 5 years, and it is trickier to sell. Translate that over to how it impacts you if you're looking at buying or selling. If you're looking at buying, here we go. You got options. I would expect May, June, and July to be easier for you as we go. This is the normal pattern. Easier. May, June, July. And then in August, as the listings stop coming, it begins to even out. Meaning you probably don't have to write exorbitantly over asking. Someone asked me today, is it becoming more affordable? And the answer is no, it's just less unaffordable. Okay, meaning, you got to stop being jaded. Houses aren't going to sell in 5 days anymore. They're going to sell in 14 days. They're not going to go for 15 offers over asking. They're going to go at asking. Things like that are going to start happening. So if you're selling, you have to reset your expectation. I know if you're a seller, you have been bombarded with how hot the market is, and you've been expecting what has become the norm of multiple offers. Unlikely to happen this summer. It's just, will it happen? Sure. I mean, if you're listing in Bellevue as opposed to, I don't know, somewhere out in Puyallup, yeah, probably will get multiple offers. But as a rule of overall in the market, you're going to need to be much more careful on your pricing and lower your expectations for how much over asking you're going to go. Just bring them all the way down. It is not happening now, and it is unlikely to be happening in May, June, and July. If you wanted to hold your listing until November, December, great. You want to pull it off the market or want to wait till you're back in a seasonal pattern where there's the buyers and the buyers and the new listings are more even, no problem. But if you're planning on selling in the next 3 months, lower your expectations. Does that mean you're going to not get what it's worth? No, of course not. It is still a very strong seller's market. Overall, you're still going to get top dollar. You're talking about just being on the other side of a peak. Is it going to be the peak? No, you're just on the other side of it, but it's still really, really good money for sellers and still pretty easy. So if you're buying, has it been easier? If you're selling, be careful. Let me know what I can do for you. Your situation is unique. Why? Because everyone's situation is unique. Let me know what I can do for you. Share this, like it, comment, all that kind of good social media stuff. Let me know what I can do for you. Aaron here with Christine Company EXP. But here's your takeaway. Your one little fun fact to share with people is that there are more houses per buyer this April, last month. There are more houses per buyer than any time in the last 5 years. You can share that with anyone you want. That's a fact. More listings per buyer than any time in the last 5 years, and 10% more than last month. It's going up. Share away. Talk to you soon. Bye. What in the world is happening with Pierce County real estate? Whoa, check it out. Super interesting. Here we go. All right, supply and demand. Green is the supply. New listings that came to market. Blue, demand. How many listings went under contract any given month? This is the last 2 years. Let's just check out a couple of data points here before we look at the big picture. So you can see last month, April, was almost identical to March. All right, it's 1% difference. It's 1% easier for buyers. There's 1% more listings per buyer than there were in March, so not a big change, okay? And if you look, so if you think about that, and if you watch the King County update, you know that's a big difference. It means it's still hotter for sellers in Pierce County. This is understandable because the price point is so much lower. And with remote working still available, we would expect to see the outer areas remain hotter than than Seattle and King County. So not that surprising. But if you look at the larger picture, if you get out of the pandemic years and you just take a quick look at the larger picture, you see we are coming back to this April last month is almost identical to the 3 Aprils prior to the pandemic, both in terms of buyers and sellers. It's almost exactly the same. So what that means is you're looking at, see the graphs on 17, 18, and 19, all that green space where there's excess inventory. That is still predictable in Pierce County. So that if you wanted to get one takeaway, one little bit of factoid, right? Pierce County real estate is hotter than King County real estate, meaning it's easier for sellers, harder for buyers, and we are still headed for what would be considered normal seasonality, meaning May, June, July. It's going to get easier and easier and easier for buyers and harder for sellers. It's not going to be a collapse. There's no bubble. Someone asked me about, is it going to get more affordable? No, it's just going to be less unaffordable. That's the reality. All right. And Pierce County is more affordable than King County, especially if you work in King and you can live in Pierce. You can get the benefits of the money in King County and live in Pierce County. You can definitely afford Pierce County more easily than you can King County. But we're talking about meeting the 17, 18, 19 kind of metrics where there's excess inventory, May, June, and July, meaning you're looking at no massive bidding wars, no 17 offers, houses staying on the market for 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 20 days. Wouldn't be unusual. There's nothing wrong with a house that's been on the market for 20 days in the middle of June. I would expect that to be happening. So let's see what happens. And, feel free to share with your friends that Pierce County is still hotter than King County in terms of its bidding wars, in terms of its availability of housing. And it's predictable. We're going to get to less and less hot as we go. It's going to go from smoking hot to normal hot. Okay, in the next 3 months. Let's check it out. We'll see what's happening. If you have questions about your circumstances, because you're unique, you're special. Yes, you are. And everyone's conditions are special. Let me know what you're dealing with. I'd love to help. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company over at EXP. Share, like, comment, all that great social media stuff. Talk to you later. What in the world is happening with Kitsap County real estate? Check it out. All right. It's pretty interesting. And we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to go start with Kitsap and then do a deep dive on Bainbridge because they're so different. And it points to the way different neighborhoods in different areas act differently. So first of all, this is the supply and demand graph. This is green is the supply, new listings that came on. Blue is the demand. Listings that went under contract every given month. Okay, this is 2 years. One thing to notice in this graph, this is really pretty similar to King County, in that the gap between sellers and buyers increased by about 10%. In Kitsap overall, there are 10% more available houses than people who bought houses last month compared to the month before, March to April. So it's getting easier. And if you look at the 5-year version of this, because the pandemic was so abnormal, you can see that historically what you wind up with is in the summertime, May, June, July, you wind up with this excess inventory. Listings, and buyers tend to taper off and level off before listings. And that is what we're headed for. We're headed for more of a normalized market. Doesn't mean the bubble's collapsing, doesn't mean it's going to get affordable, it's just going to get less crazy. All right, meaning if you're buying in Kitsap overall, you should expect an easier time than any other time in the last 5 years. Okay, it should get back to what would be considered normal, meaning May, June, July, there'll be listings, they'll be on the market, there'll be no review dates, you'll be able to get a house at asking price in 14, 21 days, that kind of time frame. If you're selling, price carefully. You cannot underprice. You could now underprice. You're not going to get bidding wars guaranteed. You're going to need to really think it through. Okay, it's more of a normal. It's still a seller's market. Okay, anything selling a house in anything under than 3 months is a seller's market. Just in case you wanted to get a reality check on how jaded we've become. So it's going to look more like this, predictably, 2017, 18, and 19, where there's going to be choices. But take a look and see what happens if you just look at Bainbridge Island, right? A piece of Kitsap. Not the whole thing, but watch what happens when you just look at Bainbridge, okay? Now, Bainbridge hasn't had the increase that we would normally expect. Okay, it's more, is it going to get to this height though? We can't see that yet, but it does look like the demand is off, and it looks like it's certainly possible to get here, but it can't see it yet. It's just, the whole thing was down. Both new listings and pending were down compared to April. So, compared to March. Let's see. Come on. Yeah. So you can see in April, we had less listings and fewer buyers. Less listings, fewer buyers. It's down month to month. I would like to have seen that listings come up before I'd be confident that there'd be a historically normal market over the summer on Bainbridge. It's probably likely, just given if you look at Pierce County and King County and Kitsap County, it's headed in that direction. So it could easily happen for us on Bainbridge, but it doesn't show it yet. So the takeaway, if you wanted something interesting to share with your friends about the market, is you could say overall Kitsap County is following in the footsteps of King County. It's about 10% easier to buy houses month to month, right? 10% easier than last month. Okay? 10% more houses than buyers. And we're keeping a tight eye on Bainbridge to watch to see, does it catch up? Does it act as the bigger areas are acting? Now, every case is different. This is the evidence that every case is different. Every case is unique. Tell me what you're dealing with so I can help you decide what the best course of action for you is. All right? Please like this, share it, comment, do all the great social media things. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company at eXp Realty. Talk to you later. Bye. What in the world is happening with Vashon Real Estate? Oh, check it out. Pretty interesting. Okay, not unlike every single other freaking thing about living here, this goes against every grain that is showing up in other surrounding markets. What? Vashon is being weird? I know. So if you look, okay, inventory is up month to month. Okay, that's typical of the surrounding areas, but so are buyers, and that is not typical. Um, in other words, there are buyers are absorbing all the available inventory. Everything that comes on the market is selling. That is not the case in the surrounding counties. Okay, you have to watch the other videos to get those updates. Um, and there's less inventory this month than there were the previous two Aprils. That's also unique. Mostly in the area, you're seeing this April having been the most inventory. And if you go back 5 years, you go to the 5 year version. If I can get it on the screen, would be useful now. Look at the bigger picture. You can see that the graphs are choppy because there's so little inventory, but we're about half the available inventory right now that you would expect in a pre-pandemic April. In other words, if you look at the surrounding counties, April in 2022 was pretty typical of 17, 18, and 19. Not the case on Vashon. If you wanted to take away, you could say there's half as much available inventory as one would expect. That's about the way it goes. If you look at the surrounding counties as evidence for what's happening, there's half as much inventory as one would expect. There should be twice as much inventory if it was going to be as typical of what's surrounding us. And it's not. So if you're looking to sell on Vashon, you should have a very easy time of it. And if you're looking to buy, all you can do is keep your fingers crossed and hope that Vashon catches up to the rest of the surrounding counties and in fact starts behaving that way. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same position that you've been in, which is a very difficult buyer's position. Now, overall, even in the pandemic, the summer months tend to bring more inventory, and we could expect more inventory coming on. The question is, how much more, and where's it going to come from? In the surrounding counties, people can build houses. Not really the case on Vashon. There's no way really to meaningfully increase the available inventory. So we'll have to see what happens, but it is not behaving typical. It's not behaving as you might expect if you were watching King County, Pierce County, and Kitsap County. It is its own animal, which makes us love Vashon even more, doesn't it now? Yes, it does. All right. If you got questions about your particular circumstances or you want something to discuss because everyone's unique, let me know. Aaron Hendon with Christine Company over at EXP. Talk to you soon.